Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am here. First confession I have to make is that my allergies are kicking me in my butt, and so I sound a little bit different. If I sound different, you'll just know it's because me and allergies have never gotten along. When I was a little kid, I used to have to come home from school because my eyes would be puffy and red, and my nose would be so stopped up I couldn't sleep, and I think I just became a kid again. I thought I outgrew my allergies, but anyway, we must continue the fight. So I want to say hello to everybody as you come in. Please hit the thumbs up button. Shout out the city that you're from. Jill Butler, Linda Torrance, B Girl 37, Yoshika Garner. I see you already in here. And today we have a very special guest, Dr. Kirk Quigless. He is an esteemed B1 member, a member of the B1 community, as well as a respected dentist and owner of Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club, which is an awesome company that everybody should check out. I'm gonna put that URL on the screen so you can also go support this black-owned business. And Dr. Q, first of all, I'd like to ask my brother, how you doing today, man?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Spent a long day in office, but we're here. We're fighting a good fight, right?
All right. So how long are your days in the office typically?
Oh, typically from 9 to about 6 or so.
Oh wow. So you're a hardworking black man.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so by the way, somebody says they cannot hear me. Can everybody hear me? Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, let me know if you can hear me. And also, Rhonda Johnson's from Charlotte, Jill Butler out of Orlando. Keith says they can't hear me, but I assume everybody else can because I asked you to mention your cities, and you guys are doing that. All right. So, and by the way, don't forget this podcast is also on Spotify. So if you have the Spotify app, give me a yes. If you have Spotify, go to Spotify and just look for Boyce Watkins, and you'll find me on the find me on that app if you want to listen to this podcast. All right, so Dr. Q, you and I were talking, and I had you on before, and I remember noticing that you have a very rich family history, a very rich legacy in terms of knowing what the world looked like when things were black owned. You mentioned a black owned hospital. In
Right.
St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken, that you were part of. Can you kind of talk about that just so everybody can kind of know that story?
Yep, absolutely. So the hospital you're referring to is Homer G. Phillips. It was a awesome institution. It was a large uh, hospital that was actually created out of racism because the white doctors and people didn't want the black doctors and black people in the same hospital with them. So they said, "Well, we'll build you a hospital on your side of town that's just as just as good, has the same uh, type of facilities, and just don't come over here." And they actually did it that time. They built
Wow.
a magnificent facility, the Homer G. Phillips Hospital, and then the doctors, we made it great. So while it was in its heyday, Homer G was responsible for educating uh, more than 2/3 of all black doctors in the country. So they would finish up at Howard and Harry and then come to Homer G for their residency training. Uh, so it was the basis of an awesome community. It wasn't just Tulsa didn't have the only Black Wall Street. It was Black Wall Streets in every city, every major city. We had communities and we had institutions in our communities that would support the community. So the dollar was circulating in our communities because we had to at that in those days. Um, but now, uh, it's a bit different, and our dollars leave our hands in about 6 hours or so and go to other people's communities. And so we're
Wow.
trying to reverse that now with what we're doing. That's part of our mission at Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club is to bring an institution into to our community and base it in the community so that we can rebuild the community. My theory is that without institutions in our community, then it's going to be hard to rebuild our community. And that's institutions that we control, Black people
Mm,
control, because just like Homer G it was a magnificent institution, but it was dependent on government funding. It was
mhm.
dependent on funding that got uh, turned off when white people got upset about it. They were able to just flick the switch and cut the funding off and shut the hospital down.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, and so um, we got to try and build our own institutions that are independent.
Hmm. Yeah. Well,
Where
well, let me tell you, Dr. Q. I read some of Homer G. Phillips' history, and it looks like he was the attorney that raised the
yeah,
money for the hospital. And it was a really fascinating story, that he really fought back. This is the early 20th century, y'all. Everybody should know about people like this. So Homer G. Phillips was a local Black attorney. He led a campaign for civic improvements on a bond issue that would provide for the construction of a larger hospital for Blacks. And when the bond issue was passed in 1923, the city refused to allocate funding for the hospital and instead advocated for a segregated addition to the original city hospital located in the Peabody Darst Webb district or neighborhood distant from the center of the Black population. Phillips again led the efforts to implement the original plan for a new hospital, successfully debating the St. Louis Board of Aldermen for allocation of funds for this purpose. The site acquisition resulted in the purchase of 6.3 acres in the Ville, the center of the Black community of St. Louis. But before construction could begin, Homer G. Phillips was shot and killed. Did y'all know that? That's very interesting. He was killed before it was constructed. Somebody killed him because he was fighting for Black economics. Wow. Although two men were arrested and charged with the crime, they were acquitted, and Phillips' murder remains unsolved. Is there any talking around St. Louis about Homer G. Phillips being killed after advocating for this extraordinary hospital that was around for the next 50 years? What's the talk in St. Louis about that? Have you heard anything about that?
there's not a lot of talk in the current day. I'm sure it was, back then. Um, but he was killed right in a section of town that I pass practically every day at the corner of Euclid and Delmar. He
Wow.
was, yeah, he was shot, and which is an area that's pretty gentrified now.
So
And
who shot him and why did they kill him? Does anybody know it?
no, I don't think they ever found this or convicted anybody of who killed that
Wow.
shot.
Wow.
So I don't think they ever
Wow.
found the culprits.
Well, they began construction on the hospital in 1932, and the city initially were using the funds for the 1923 bond issue and later the newly formed Public Works Administration. And so there was an architect by the name of Albert Osberg, who was the primary designer of the building. And this is interesting because it also says here, and I'm just reading off Wikipedia. So again, I can't advocate for the authenticity of everything I'm reading, but I'll just read it and let you guys decide. By 1944, the hospital ranked among the 10 largest general hospitals in the United States. Did y'all hear that?
Mhm.
It was one of the 10 largest general hospitals in the United States, a Black owned hospital. It was consistently underfunded and understaffed by the city. Surprise, surprise. By 1948, its medical residents included more than one third of all graduates, including Dr. Helen Elizabeth Nash from the two African American Black medical schools. In the 1940s and 50s, it was a leader in developing the practice of intravenous feeding and treatments of gunshot wounds, ulcers, and burns. Not only did it house a nursing school, but also schools for training X-ray technicians, laboratory technicians, medical record keeping, etc. It also began offering training and work to foreign doctors who were being denied by other hospitals because of their race. So let me ask you this, so Dr. Quigless, and then there's more about Homer G. Phillips Hospital. I encourage everybody to read this. I encourage everybody to know. Make sure your kids know who Homer G. Phillips was. Sure you got your Martin Luther Kings and everything else, but you need to know about the people that were really trying to build something for you. Um, what drives you in terms of the inspiration that comes? I know you come from a family of doctors. You sent me a picture of
Yeah.
5 Quigless doctors in the family. So what does this mean to you? Like this story of Homer G. Phillips. I remember you mentioned it when we were talking earlier, the first time we talked. And we
Yeah.
brought it up again today. Where does this stand for you in terms of a model of moving forward for us as Black
Yeah.
people?
So I was exposed, at a young age, and so as far as Homer G is concerned, I told this story last time we were on when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. My father, who was the dental director in the dental clinic at Homer G, I remember he took me to work with him one day, and we were, for whatever reason, he decided we were going to walk through the hospital, and we ended up in the stadium seating in one of the operating rooms. And so the doctors were down there actually doing the surgery, and the interns were up there where we were, and the doctors were, training them, telling them what they were doing. And the doctors that were down there actually doing the surgery were my father's friends. So I had been over their house before they had been over my house, so they knew me when I walked in. They acknowledged me, and remember, I'm 5 or 6 years old, seeing this, so that does something to your mind. You're seeing black men down there doing these surgeries. These are the same guys that I go over their house, or they come over, they got me out in the grass tickling me. The same guy that's doing the surgery, right? So that was my experience. So and then we left there that day and went down the street and sat in a restaurant, Billy Burke's. They had the best burgers in town, and we sat down and ate. It was black owned, and we got up and went around the corner to a black owned dry cleaners, Jefferson's Cleaners, picked up some dry cleaning, and then went home. But it was a neighborhood, it was a community. The institution, Homer G. Phillips, supported the community. It was a basis for economics in the community. You had all up and down Martin Luther King. I think at that time it was called Easton, and it was black businesses all up and down that street, from flower shops, auto parts shops, cab companies, bus companies, just retail, all kinds of retail shops and restaurants. And it all, once the hospital closed and integration came, it all disappeared. Disappeared. And so the community now is pretty much, abandoned buildings, mostly abandoned buildings, even around the hospital. We have a high school there that was a Sumner High School that they were talking about. They've been talking about closing it the last few years, which produced a lot of great people. Sumner did. But my thing is, we got to stop.
Wow. Okay. So, go ahead, please.
Yeah. I was just going to say, we got to stop, depending on others and start doing for ourselves, even though we deserve reparations and they probably will come. We can't just put all our energy towards trying to fight for reparations, although we should fight for them. But we have to start building at the same time. We gotta focus on creating wealth, as you say, for ourselves. And so we can't just talk about it. We got to be about it. We got to be about doing something different. So if we keep giving our money away all the time, what's going to change? You keep putting your money out everywhere. You got to be intentional about it. You got to try and spend with your community as much as possible, just like other groups do.
Do you know who that is on the screen?
That's Homer G. Phillips.
There you go. I want everybody to know his face, because this is Black history, and I want everybody to see that. I think it's, and by the way, I'm speaking with Dr. Kirk Quigless. He is a dentist out of St. Louis and also the CEO and founder of Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club. If you'd like to learn about his products, it's a great company. I'm an affiliate with the company, and I think that what they're doing is extraordinary. So go to drqsfreshbreathclub.com and take a look. And also, Dr. Q is hopefully going to join us at the All Black National Convention. You were there last year, so you plan on coming this year?
I already got a booth.
All right. And so
and
So,
and
so
and
Dr.
hopefully
Q,
I'll be on a panel speaking.
yes, yes. Well, I'd love to have you on the panel. And Dr. Q is going to be at the All Black National Convention, which is going to be in Atlanta, October 20th through the 22nd. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you'd like to learn more. If you'd like to get a booth, if you to sell your goods from your business or be a sponsor, we will market you on this platform. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. All right, so let's so Dr. Quigless, so Homer G. Phillips, I think it's important that we talk about him, as well as I was really intrigued just reading about the fight in the city to save that hospital. You had people in the, um, you had people that in the community that seemed to understand what would happen when you take away that infrastructure that's there, and that came to pass. Right? You look now and you see nothing that reminds you of the greatness that was already there. And it's really up to us to really tell these stories because we know, the St. Louis public schools ain't gonna do it, and it's not, they're not interested in doing that, right? Which is whatever, that's what they do. So I think it's important that people like us step up and do that. Now I want to pull up another picture, the picture you sent me, and I'm gonna just pop this on the screen. And so tell me about that picture. You sent that to me, and you said the five doctors Quigless. So you had five doctors in your family.
Yeah.
Who are those men in the picture, and what kinds of doctors are they?
So from left to right standing, that's Milton Quigless Jr. He's a MD, a surgeon. And then next to him is Charles R. Quigless Jr. That's my brother. He is a chiropractor. And then my father is Charles R. Quigless Sr. He's a dentist. And then me, Kirk Quigless, dentist. And then sitting is Milton Quigless Sr. He's a MD. That was the Quigless that had the hospital out in Tarboro, North Carolina. So he, again, with the whole issue of racism, they didn't want him practicing in the White Hospital out in North Carolina. So he finished Meharry Medical School in like 1939. So when he ended, I'm not exactly sure how he ended up in Tarboro, North Carolina, but that's where he ended up. But they didn't want him in the hospital. So out of racism, they said, look, just don't come here and we'll fund this hospital, let you build your own hospital. So they gave him the money. that's how
Wow.
bad they didn't want. That's how racist they were that they give you the money. It's the opposite now, right? So
Yeah, that's hilarious. And I tell you,
yeah,
yeah, I'm in that camp where I don't really need integration. I'm not against it. I don't dislike anybody, based on the color of their skin. But I think that just that whole just false belief that we have to be that we're smarter when we're around white people is just kind of silly. No disrespect to white folks, none of that. But I think that we're smart when whether we're with other people or not. Other people should be learning from us,
right.
and I think that is something that I think we should understand as a people. And then also, what I like about what you're doing, and I'll definitely let you get the last words on this, but what I like about what you're doing with Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club, and I'm gonna put your URL on the screen so people can go support you. Is you're thinking in terms of structure. You think about like your grandfather just being the leader that he was, and just what breeds from that, right? The patriarch is guiding all these young doctors, and you talk about the hospital and that structure of Homer G. Phillips Hospital and how it created more black doctors than any other facility in the country. That's accurate, right? That they graduated
Yeah,
more black doctors.
it wasn't a medical school, but it was a place where the doctors came to do their internships and residencies.
Okay. My mistake then. My mistake. I knew there was something that had led the nation, and I hope I wasn't.
Yeah,
I didn't say
that's it.
anything crazy.
Yeah, they were
Okay.
training black doctors. After,
Okay, so they trained the black. Okay, yeah, that's because I felt a little bit weird. I was like, wait, I know I'm missing something. But either way, though, right? And I want everybody to hear this, and then I'll let you kind of definitely take us home with it. But we got to understand, everybody, that you're dealing with systematic racism. And systematic racism means that there's entire systems designed to oppress you. Systems don't operate like individuals. Like one man playing football is not the same as an entire football team. A football team runs on a system. A war, one soldier fighting in a war is one thing, but when you have 10,000, 100,000 soldiers, that's a systematic approach to solving a big problem. So problems get created with systems, and they can also be solved by systems. So,
Right.
in order for you to combat systematic racism, systematic efforts to oppress you, you must develop counter systems that will elevate you. And so, for example, systems like media, black-owned media that can reach hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of our people is going to make a whole lot more difference than one person, who gets a good job or gets a degree or whatever, right? And or even systematic leadership. Having lots of leaders throughout every community all across this country is much different from having one more Dr. Martin Luther King or whatever that we're all sit back and worship. One person can't do the job of a system. Just like in football, one great football player cannot replace a football team. You take the best player in the NFL, Michael. Let's say not Michael Vick. I don't know, whoever you think is the best player in the NFL, or best. Yeah, best. Let's do that example. The best player in the NFL cannot even defeat a middle school football team. They wouldn't be able to defeat a middle school
Right.
because you're talking about a system against the individual. So what I like about what you're doing is you're taking us back to that line of thinking, and you're looking at this hospital as an example where they systematically served thousands of people, systematically produced hundreds, probably thousands of doctors, and systematically generated millions of dollars in revenue for the community. That's how we have to think. We've got to think systematically
Right.
and not think individually.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Dr.
So
Quigless?
my thoughts on that are, I agree 100% with what you were saying. And a lot of times what we're doing is, and it's not, I think it's a miseducation among us, and it's not in a lot of instances done intentionally, but we sell ourselves short, and we sell ourselves to corporate America. And so we get cherry picked. Our community gets our best and brightest cherry picked to come build their institutions.
Mm.
And we sell ourselves for, some money uh, that and no power. So I call it it's a TWOP, TWOP,
Mm.
title without power,
Yeah.
a TWOP. So you got people who are vice president, they'll go around screaming, I'm the vice president, or I'm the president of such and such company, and literally can't authorize a box of donuts to a meeting that they're responsible for, and have the company pay for it. And if you want to hear somebody hemming and hawing, ask them, can I be a vendor for your company? Can you help me, sell these donuts to the company?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the title, and a little bit of money, we kind of selling ourselves short. And again, it's because we've been indoctrinated through our education process that's what success looks like. And so
Wow.
that's what's put out in front of us. This is what you should strive to be. This is what you should, strive to be. Come give your talents to build somebody else's institution.
Wow. Well, I love it.
And the trade-off is that you leave your community behind.
You know what? I think that's very powerful what you just said. TWOP, TWOP, title without power, says Michael Carter. Michael Carter typed this into the chat. I agree with that. The term I use to describe something similar, Dr. Quigless, is I call them economic babysitters.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can babysit every kid in the world, but that doesn't make you a parent. You're not
Right.
actually a parent. You're spending all your time babysitting other people's children and not raising your own. And that goes back to slavery. We
Mhm.
put a lot of time, taking care of other people's families, businesses, etc. And then our families and businesses are falling apart because, well, why? Well, because the things that you pour energy into are the things that are going to grow. If I'm sitting here working 10 hours a day on my business, then my business will grow. But if
Yeah.
I'm spending 10 hours a day working on his business and then too tired to work on my own, then one of them is going to starve. One of them starving, for attention. The other one is going to flourish and prosper. So ultimately, I encourage us to really think about this and understand that systems are the key to building power, particularly in a capitalist society. You must understand the development of systems. If you don't understand, then keep hanging out here. We'll teach you.
Right.
So I want to give everybody Dr. Quigless's website, and then I'm actually let him make a closing statement before we bounce on out of here. Y'all see me over here sniffling with my allergies and everything. I apologize for not being my usual self. I've been taking medication all day, ain't nothing working. So head to drqsfreshbreathclub.com. That is his website. Also, I have links to his materials on my website, boycewatkins.com. So I put the link up there too if you guys if you guys happen to be there as well. And so I want to say thank you very much, Dr. Quigless. And did you have any parting thoughts you want to leave us with?
Yeah, well, Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club is a suite of eco-friendly oral hygiene products. It's quality products. Anybody that's on here that's a subscriber, put it in the chat so the other people will know that you made the switch. But I made the switch in the chat. We deliver high quality oral hygiene products in a timely manner, right to your door, and they're eco-friendly. You will be proud of the products that we have. And we also have an affiliate program. And so to be an affiliate, you also have to be a subscriber. So the subscription is basically $3.15 a week, and we bill it every other month. It's like $25 every other month for the standard adult subscription. So we're asking you to, stop sending your money to Crest and Colgate and make the switch to Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club. And every time we ship your product, we also donate a toothbrush into the community. So you're not only helping yourself, you're helping underprivileged family in our community. So that's we're not just products, we're a mission and a movement, and we're not going into Walgreens or Walmart or Target or any of those places because we want to show them that we don't need them to distribute our products. And we have the economic base in our community to actually build a B1 $1 billion institution in our community. And that's our intent, is we're going for, we got a 5 to 7 year time frame to do this. And our people like you that are on here, we need your support. And we're building this institution in the community.
Yeah. And he has an app. They have an app as well. What's the app called? It's called
QBrush.
QBrush, the QBrush app.
QBrush app, and it will show you how to brush and give you time you on your proper brushing time, and you get some little tidbits here and there from me on oral health.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, everybody give a digital round of applause and digital thank you to Dr. Quigless for joining us today.
One last thing, if I may. Sorry.
Please.
Yeah.
It's okay.
If it's okay, I want to introduce my secret weapon.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, I got a secret weapon that I wouldn't really be able to do this without, that I want to introduce everybody to. That is the Chief Operating Officer for Quigless Innovations. That is, I'm gonna let her come over here, Miss Kimberly here, my better half.
Miss Kimberly, how are you?
How you doing today?
Doing very well.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
You too. I'm in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. I saw you in the chat. You jumped from the chat to the screen. Very nice to meet you, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is my secret weapon, the chief operating officer. That man, I can't tell you how hard she works on everything, and everybody needs a partner like this. And the beauty of this, another beauty of this project is that we do this together. So we conceived it together, and we work on it together. We go out to all the events together. I mean, this is a daily thing we're working on as a team.
We keep telling these young guys that a great black woman next to you is the best way to be successful in this world. So
absolutely.
So all right, well, I love it. So everybody, thank Dr. Quigless and his lovely wife. And give me a first name again, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Kim.
What's that? Kim. His lovely wife, Kim. And I hope you all will go take a look. The website is Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club. His app is called the Q Brush app. And also, Dr. Q and his wife will be at the All Black National Convention in Atlanta, October 20th through the 22nd. So if you'd like to join us in Atlanta, then feel free to join us. We're actually, speaking of systems, we actually just finished our movie, B1 the Movie. We're going to do a screening and a red carpet for the movie at the convention. So feel free to join us by going to allblacknationalconvention.com. So thank you very much, Dr. Quigless, and thank you very much, Mrs. Quigless, and God bless you both. And everybody have a good night. And I'm going to go blow my nose because I'm having my allergy.
We appreciate you and everything that you do for us and for the community, Dr. Watkins.
Just doing my job. Just doing my job. You know, that's what we got to do. We all got to do our job. And I already see I'm getting some medical tips or some healing remedies. See, these black women, they love us. They take good care of us. You talk bad about black women, I'm gonna beat you up. Lucilla says make some hot ginger lemon honey tea for my allergies. That is a good idea. I think I'm gonna actually do that. So thank you very much, Miss Alexander, and God bless you, Dr. Quigless and Mrs. Quigless. Y'all have a wonderful day. See you soon.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.